Thank you everybody for joining. I have Carrington MacDuffie and I'm so excited to interview her today. She is one of a kind. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she does it all. She does singing, songwriting, voiceovers, audiobooks. She does it all. So thank you for coming on today.
I'm so pleased to be here.
So I was reading a lot about your trip to Europe, and I would love for you to kind of talk about that and how that was for you.
Well, there have been a few trips to Europe, so I guess I'll talk about the most recent one where I was touring through the UK, England, Scotland, Wales, which was that was a long tour. That was a 2-month tour. Really, really fun. But touring is also can be grueling. When the way that tour was planned, we didn't have a whole lot of days off. So we were just go, 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 going. And but still, even when on the road, I managed to write songs, or at least get ideas for songs that I'll have a chance to write when I'm back into a still place, back home and holding still, and I have a moment to kick back and think about, or I guess intuit the ideas that came to me when I was traveling. That was a wonderful tour. Actually, I played with 3 different guitarists. It was kind of harrowing because one of them had to leave the tour because he had carpal tunnel syndrome in his fretting hand. And so I was under the gun to find guys to finish the tour with me. But I did. They just popped up out of nowhere. I mean, manna from heaven. So that was a really wonderful tour. Had an
That's
Englishman.
awesome.
Yes, I had an Englishman, a Texan, and a Scotsman on that tour.
That's awesome. And your family's from Scotland, correct?
Well, my family's from New York. My last name absolutely is Scottish, and I have been to visit the cemetery in the Inner Hebrides in Scotland, where my four forebears are buried. There's a MacDuffie graveyard there. So, but my family came over early, very early in the 1600s from Scotland, and I have English ancestors as well, and some French. But my name carries the Scottish. Well, I suppose there's a heraldic crest that goes with that, and certainly a tartan.
That's awesome. And I bet, I think I was reading your biography that it was in 2018. So it was still when traveling and everything was kind of,
Yes. Yes, it's hard. The years of these last few years have gone really fast and blurred for all of us, I think. So that was it. 2018 was when I visited that cemetery. I toured through Scotland in 2019 as well,
oh, that's
especially in the
awesome.
Highlands. Yeah, I was there a couple of times.
Wow. So you have a new song out called You Baby, correct?
Yes, yes.
Can you talk about that and where that came from? And I listened to it and you have a new fan of all of
All
your music.
right. That's beautiful. Thank you. Um, Let's see, where did that song come from? I had actually been shooting a video, and it was such a fun shoot. We were shooting out on a lake, and it was a really special day because it was extremely windy and there was no one on the lake but us. And we were shooting video, and the boat captain and I were in the video. You can find that one on my YouTube channel. It's called Sweet Little Mystery. And it was such a great day and so exciting that at the end of the day, I came home and I just sat down and I just wrote that song. Sometimes the song comes out really quickly, and sometimes it inches its way out, and you just have to be very patient and just wait and don't push it. But that one came out very, very fast. And I had the idea of the music video that we just shot for this song for quite a while before I figured out where exactly we should shoot it. Um, I didn't write the song thinking Valentine's Day, but as soon as it was written, I knew it had to be a Valentine's Day song and that we had to make a music video for it.
Yeah, it's I love it and I love it reminds me of like a 50s kind of slow vibe to it. I may be the
Mm.
only one who has that kind of vibe for it, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. And it's so good. And how do you come up with all of these ideas to write songs? Like, I don't know how people do that. Like, where do you come up with them? Is it just like a life event and then you turn it into a song?
Well, I guess the process is different for all songwriters. For me, it just comes. So I don't go chasing after songs. I don't get all disciplined about I have to write every day or anything like that. When a song is on its way to me, I'll just kind of, I can feel that and I pay attention to that. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'll break what I'm doing and go and tend to the message that's coming to me. Because really, I just channel them. I guess you could say I create them, but really, I feel like I channel them. So that means I have to stay in a really receptive mode. And sometimes I might be just sitting, I don't watch a whole lot of television, but I might be watching a movie on TV and just strumming my guitar, doing a little practice, and I start to play something and I hear something and I suddenly think, "Oh yeah, that's trying to be a song." The key for me is to pay attention because you only get just a little hint. It may not come blaring at you with trumpets, it might just be a little hint of a song. And so you have to be very sensitive, or I do, to that voice when it's speaking.
Wow. That is like mind blowing to me. I've never been that super, super creative where like you can write stories or books or songs or anything. It's just not my forte, and hearing people's process of it is just wild to me.
But obviously you're creative. I mean, look at what you're sitting, what you've the space you've created and what you're doing. That's very, there's so many different ways to create, because making your own business is a creative act. There's a whole lot of ways. Songwriting is a particularly, I think in some ways difficult big way to type of creation because it can be so elusive and you do have to have your ear tuned and there's a lot of trust involved. If you start criticizing yourself too soon, you'll blow it. You'll just squash the whole idea. If you start working it and editing it too soon, you'll squash the idea. If you ignore it, it's gone. So I find I have to have a rather tender relationship with song ideas, but also kind of rigorous in the sense that I have to tend to it, as I said. As soon as it's speaking to me, I've really got to listen.
Yeah,
That's my
I
job.
bet.
I mean, I have to listen. I'm a listener, right? As any mix engineer, songwriter, musician, we're all listeners. We're hearers, and that's our job to hear and listen, and then translate what we hear into
That's
sound.
crazy. Crazy, crazy to me. So, you do voiceovers, correct, for video games and audiobooks. How long does it take to do like one of those projects? I've heard it can take 4 hours to do a project, or I can hear it can take months.
That's true. It sounds a lot like songwriting, actually. Um, It depends on the project. I mean, an audiobook may take, depends on the length of the audiobook, the difficulty of it, how much dialogue there is. Are there a bunch of dialects? Are there characters? Is it very dense? I'm working right now on a bunch of short stories, Edith Wharton stories, and those are not difficult because she was such a brilliant writer, but her the construction of her sentences is complex, and so you got to dig down and get inside it. You can't just gloss over it. So it really depends on the project. So if I'm doing a 300-page audiobook, and primarily audiobooks is what I do, that may take, I can certainly knock that out in a week, 5 days, possibly 4 days if I really work long days, though I prefer not to work super long days. It's a very, it's a laborious job. I'm talking about audiobook narration in particular now because it requires a very high skill set. As I said, you have to be able to do character work, dialect work. I've narrated physics and theology and all kinds of different things. If it's just a character part in a video game or a two-line commercial voiceover job, which I don't do much commercial voiceover because I don't have a very salesy voice, but you can do that in an hour. That can be done very quickly. So it really depends. But mostly what I do, as I said, is audiobooks because it's a very gratifying kind of work because it requires such a wide range of skill. And there's so many different kinds of projects out there.
Right. What got you into doing that?
I've always been in the book business, even as a pretty young kid, as a teenager. Um, I was at boarding school in Massachusetts, and we were all assigned different jobs, and I was happily given the job of mending books in the basement of the library. And I was always a bookworm. I went into the book business and worked on the editorial staff of a mass market publishing house for quite a while. I have a degree in English. Worked freelance as an editor, fiction editor. So I have a great deal of experience with books themselves. I've published, I've written copy for them. I really understand how to put a book together, how to tell a story. And then I just naturally use my voice. So the two things came together. I was with an agent in Seattle, as it happened, when a producer came in looking for audiobook narrators. It was early in the days of audiobooks, and I auditioned for that, and it was just a natural fit. And he and I worked together for actually many years. So it was a joining of voice and books. I'm not an actor. I have no background in acting whatsoever. I really, I'm have no, I know nothing about theater. I'm probably the only person in audiobooks who has no theater background whatsoever. But I use my voice.
Well, your voice is definitely one that like is you can stand like reading a book. You know how some audiobooks like they have the narrator just it really has to be a voice that captures your attention. You definitely have one of those voices. So
Yeah, it should capture your attention, but it should also let you hear the book, and be neutral in such a way that you hear the book instead of the voice. And it has to not annoy you because, I find when I listen to narration, I know in the first couple of sentences if I'm going to be able to tolerate that voice for 6 hours.
yes. So you do have some concert dates coming up. Can you talk a little bit about that and where people can see you coming up?
Oh, I would love for people to come see me. I'd love to see people. Let's see. I'm in Austin and I am doing some shows in Austin in the immediate future on the Friday, the 3rd of March, which is coming right up. I'm playing a couple of sets at a really great coffee house called New World Deli in Austin with my Texas guitarist, and that'll be really fun. Then I'm doing 4 shows at South by Southwest, and actually my Scottish guitarist is coming over for those shows. So that's going to be a blast. And I have a couple different bands for those 4 shows. I'm putting different guys together that I haven't put together before. So if you're attending South by Southwest, come and check out. Actually, we're doing unofficial showcases, but it all happens in the same place. It's all on 6th Street. I'll be at a club called Touche a couple of times and Darwin's Pub a couple of times with a 5-piece band. That's going to be fun. We'll also do a duo show. And then following that, I know, the 29th of March at the Saxon Pub, which is an old revered venue in Austin. That's going to be a fun show. I think there's another songwriter right before me. The whole evening should be really interesting there. That's the 29th. So that's what's happening soon. I'm looking at going back to Europe this summer, but I need to talk to my Scotsman when he gets here and discuss what we might do.
That sounds so fun. I wish
Oh,
I
yes,
was
doesn't it?
in that area so I could come.
Where,
Ooh,
yeah, where are you and how do we get you here or how do I come to you?
I'm in Nevada, good old Reno. It's very, very snowy out there right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
you've been dumped on with snow this winter.
Yes,
Wow.
it's big surprise, this snowstorm. I don't think any of us were expecting it, but it's nice to
Wow.
wake up to. But yes, hopefully I'll be able to travel down that way here soon. I'll have to look at my schedule and stuff, but I hope to see you and catch a show here. And is there anything else you want to tell anybody about you?
I would say go to my YouTube channel. My website's carringtonmacduffie.com. My YouTube channel is really fun to look at. There's a ton of all different kinds of videos on there, including this very hot, sexy video that we made for the new song You Baby. Gotta check that out. Smoking hot dance partner in that video. It's just so fun. So I guess just Yeah, come see a show if you can, and that my Valentine's video expresses a lot of the love and sense of tenderness that I feel for humanity in general, which I think humanity is in tremendous need of right now.
I couldn't agree more. All right, thank you so much. And I will link all of your website and your socials and your YouTube channel so people can come check you out. And
Beautiful.
I hope to check out a show here soon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.